Yeah, I put it in there. I'm going to start trying to. Hello and welcome everyone to Living Bahangkan 7. How are you, everyone? Sorry we took off a week. It's me, Nisha, and our lovely Angela.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Wow. What a week. Oh my God. It's like, I
Because
say this every week. It's so hard to keep up with everything.
just when you think you had a plan for this week, and then they threw you a loop.
They threw us a loop. I mean,
Hmm.
we knew Set Me Free was going to happen. I
Correct.
think we also knew it would have the impact that it had, so I'm not in any way, shape, or form surprised on that side of it. But I think the level of
Right.
storytelling, I
Hmm.
I think don't think it's so incredible that I did what I normally don't. I actually went on immediately and did a written reaction on our Twitter, which I usually don't do that. I like save
Hmm.
the day, but I did it like within not even a minute. So Set Me Free.
It
Set Me.
was amazing.
It's an anthem. It's an absolute anthem. It's a homage to. It's an homage, just an homage. It's an homage to all of them. Let's just be
Right.
honest. It's not like it's,
Right.
you know, Jimin's not just telling, "Hey Terry, hey, hello love, self care
Yay!
time."
Hi,
But
Terry.
we already ran into our talk. So let me.
Yeah, we could just go right away. I know. I
I
know.
know you could just go straight in because I've
Yeah.
been doing a lot on Set Me Free. You know very well. Everyone here knows if you followed me how much Yoongi's Set Me Free has meant in terms
Hmm.
as a song.
Hmm.
And that was even before we knew that Jimin was going to give it the nod the way that he gave it. So I, of course, have been paying a lot of attention to the musical movement, the lyrical
Hmm.
movement, just a lot of it,
Right.
which I've been chatting with everyone about because it just
Right.
as a piece, it's. So we'll
It's a
get into
piece of art.
that. It's
Hmm.
incredible. But how have you been doing? I know we both had absolutely crazy schedules, so
Well, we do. I know it's almost midnight here, but I'm awake and I'm ready to talk about Jungkook.
I know we need to get our. We really have been like. I feel so neglectful that because of everything going on with their drops, we just haven't been able to show love to Jungkook the way
I
that we
know.
need to. And one of the craziest thing is our very first show we did was Jin. That's how we opened it. It was crawled across the Jiniverse. But the problem was that we were brand new, and
Right.
YouTube didn't know who we were yet
Mhm.
enough to
Mhm.
allow us to do certain things. And
Mhm.
so they took down that show. So you have never gotten to see it. We
No.
haven't recorded so we can publish it into the
Right.
different sites. So I think we might do it that way so that everybody gets a chance to at least see across the Geniverse.
Yeah.
But
Oh
then
yeah.
we have a couple beautiful surprises coming in terms of how we're going to work um, on the member relationships and things like that. So I
Right.
think that's as we
Right.
move forward. Okay, so you want to let's start out, my dear. I'm sorry, everyone. Bear with me. I have a really bad cold, so I'm probably going to cough a little bit as we move through the day. So bear with me. I
Right.
apologize.
No worries.
Okay. So today's show focuses on our golden maknae JK, who is an on his own right has been named one of the top 200 voices of our century. It's not a small feat. It's absolutely incredible. And as we know, BTS seeks out nothing. They seek out no accolades or names or fame. So the fact that that was done independently is just just stupendous. And I listened to his voice, and he absolutely is one of the most incredibly versatile voices that I've heard in my 50 years. So we've watched him grow, just a young boy from Busan who wanted to sing, dance, and perform. And we're also going to talk about the release of Set Me Free Part 2 by Jimin today, and
Mhm.
which is a song that is very deeply rooted in pain and suppression. There's just so much story behind these words. And as I said, it's not just his story that he's telling, which is just so beautiful.
He has an amazing voice, and I think, some people don't actually realize how much he contributes with lyrics, and working on songs as well, not just his own kind of solo songs, but um, he's maybe not given as much credit for the wide variety of talent that he has behind the
Jimin,
scenes as well.
Jimin or Cookie? Jimin or
Sorry, I was
both?
talking about Cookie.
You
No, no, I
jumped
was talking about
in. I
Cookie.
think you jumped right in. So we were talking
Sorry.
about, we always start with this line when BTS debuted 10 years ago.
Hmm.
So you take it, Angela. That's you.
There you go. So JK, Cookie, Jungkook was an adolescent. He had adolescent hopes and dreams and fears. He was still in school and yet took on the challenge of training to be an idol when he wasn't actually sure that it was the trajectory he wanted to be on. Destiny has a way of calling us, and for some, it's like lightning striking. That is the way that BTS and Big Hit came into Cookie's life. Jimin was 17, finding his voice, literally, and his own form and his way to self express. Unfortunately, his journey isn't just like JK. It wasn't always easy or kind to him.
Yeah,
So
to neither of them, unfortunately. It's really,
yeah.
yeah, it's as you know, the reason we connect so beautifully as Army with the boys. Aw. Thank you, Terry. I appreciate it.
Mhm.
Is because we're learning in the same way we're learning through their lessons of the
Mhm.
difficulties that they face or that they've gone through.
Mhm.
And I think that. Oh, so sorry. I'm saying so a million times today, but I believe that there's just so much for us to learn as Army from what they have been through and what they have expressed to us on a regular basis. So we're going to play our opening reel, and then we are actually going to go ahead and talk a little bit about our lovely Jungkookie.
There you
So
go.
let me get with you. We are having no technical difficulties, but let's see where we are. Oops, so sorry, guys. Mhm.
We are bulletproof.
I don't know that gives you a feeling one way or the other.
Every single time we listen to that, it's the
Yes.
same feeling. It's like I don't think it's ever going to stop feeling that I don't know.
No, I
that
mean, when you think of, being in Vegas, when you first kind of heard that,
Yep.
that's what when you saw that at the end of the show, when you thought the show was over, and then all of a sudden
All
that
of a
came
sudden
on,
everything goes black, and then you get dun 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 dun, and I'm like, okay,
everybody was like, "What's going
what?
on?"
And then you're
Yeah, no, that definitely brings back those memories.
every single time. That's exactly
Mhm.
what it is. It's a connective memory. Duh. Like I shouldn't know
Mhm.
that. Duh. It's this huge connective memory that we all share at the same moment. So the moment we play that reel, it's connecting the entire globe of Army at the same time. Whoever is listening to us at the same, I think that that's like oh, hey, we have someone new. Hello.
Yay!
Oh, my goodness. I so welcome you, my first timer. Yay. I apologize. I know maybe your last name is Zhutska, maybe. I probably butchered that. I apologize, but you're so welcome. We're so welcome. It's an interactive show. Feel free to use the chat to answer us. We actually post questions in here for you so that you can be part of the show as we move forward. I'm so sorry, guys. Bear with me. Okay, so
Don't worry, I know.
we're gonna talk to you a little bit about who we are really quickly. And so Living Bangtan 7 is a platform. I might ask you to do this, Steve, Angela.
No worries. Living Bangtan is this platform the DG team created to bring you wellness discussions, content, and musings based on the healing positive messages of Bangtan Sonyeondan. The name means living bulletproof 24/7. Our purpose is to help us all learn how to live confidently with self-love throughout the day. Protected by the support and love of BTS and Army is a reminder of the power the bulletproof or Bangtan philosophy has, a source of healing, healthy coping, support when we're struggling to believe in ourselves.
Welcome to Living Bangtan 7. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, we are going to go in for it now. So, as we said, it's a wing of our parent company, which is called Diversely Geek. You can find us on diverselygeek.org. I apologize, I still haven't had the time to merge the two sites, but the content that you're getting here will, and within the next few months, everything will be shifted over, and you'll be able to actually watch us live from our own website. Pretty soon it's going to happen, so we'll get there. The focus of our organization has been to guide fans across the globe to embrace the healthy healing messages of their fandoms, their fandom passions, as a credible source for establishing self-care and positive self-identity. And Living Bangtan 7 was born from a shared mutual love and respect for Bangtan Sonyeondan, and a fandom that has rewritten the narrative for the connective influence and dynamic a fandom can have. Woo! I said it without coughing.
There you go.
I think here we are, we are 71 million strong, and I am claiming that now because I've been looking at the numbers between all of the sites. And if we really look at the numbers between all of the Bangtan TV, BTS official, and all of the other sites, we are at about 70 plus million people who do like and follow. I don't know at whatever level, that's really relative, but you know what? It's just so brilliant to be part of such a huge, amazing family. And we're going to share with you a reel today that I created. It's a little short one. And today's show is called Jungkook's Love Language and His Love for BTS and BTS Army. His love language is his love for BTS and BTS Army. You remember he said, "I love you, Army. I love you, BTS." I mean, last things that he said at Busan, if you remember, during his mints. So Koki always takes the opportunity to be able to tell us how much he cares for us and how meaningful we are in his life. So I love my little boy. I am so sorry. Don't kill me, people. Because I am aware that sometimes I call them boys, but that's also because I'm a 57-year-old woman. And so for me, of course, they are. But they are men. So let me fix let me fix that a little bit and understand that, I followed them for over 10 years. And Jungkook is a little teenager. And, of course, he's at this age now where I'm just so proud. It's crying tears. Okay, I'm going to play the reel. I hope you enjoy. Let's see.
너는 내 삶에 다시 뜬 햇빛 어린 시절 내 꿈들의 재림 모르겠어 이 감정이 뭔지 혹시 여기도 꿈속인 건지 꿈은 사막의 푸른 신기루 내 깊은 곳에 아프리오리 숨이 막힐 듯이 행복해져 주변이 점점 더 투명해져 저기 멀리서 바다가 들려 꿈을 건너서 숲을 너머로 선명해지는 그곳으로 가 Take my hands now You are the cause of my euphoria
Oh, I'm going to have the expanded. Thank you. I was trying really hard to line it up because his storytelling is pretty incredible. There's nothing that we listen to from Jungkook that doesn't tell a very strong or a beautiful story. Hi,
Exactly.
girl. Oh yeah, that's an act. So that's actually in the extended reel. So the that has to be in here. So there's a
Mhm,
reel that's twice this length, so,
mhm,
almost 3 times this length. So I'll be posting that pretty soon. I I get emotional, like I was telling Angela before the show, when it comes to Jungkook. So I think sometimes I make this concerted choice to not maybe talk about him as much, and I don't
mm,
mean to do that. It's just he does this.
yeah.
He is such the way he cries when he talks about Army is the way I cry
Mhm,
when I talk about him. So let's see if
mhm,
I get through today.
mhm,
That being said, the joy of Jungkook has always and will always be that we know of since he started in the industry at age 13. He just took a chance. He said, I think I want to try this thing called singing.
yeah.
He'd already said, I think I want to try this thing called dancing. And he had
Mhm,
just attended, his first dance academy. And and of course he's Jungkook, so I'm sure he nailed it. And then he saw the notice and he thought, let me go try. It was actually for
mhm,
an entertainment variety show for a singing competition. So he went and tried. He didn't pass that first
right.
competition. It was the first time he'd ever sung live in front of anyone. And actually, it was technically speaking, if you think about it, it was actually his first time singing in this way, where he pulled together a song and sang for anyone. I mean, I'm sure he did it at home, these type of things. He has this voice that is just beautifully,
Mm,
genuinely nuanced. And
mhm.
if you listen to his very first audition, that
Yeah,
little 13-year-old boy was
with
able
his
to,
kind
yeah,
of hiding with his hair, a little bit, and
he's-
looks down. I mean, to where he was in terms of being so shy till now is amazing, really. But he's also grown. I mean, I think not just in his singing, but just in his all around talent. I mean, just think recently I just saw something again where he was, learning how to play the drums, and he's always trying to kind of better himself, and try new things. And I think that that's something, that is inspirational too.
yeah, he's always been a gentle spirit, and
Mm-hmm.
hugely gentle spirit. And we knew that from the very beginning. It was easy to
Right.
see. That's part of where his shyness came from. It had to do,
Mm.
with a 12 and a 13-year-old.
Oof.
They're completely, even a person like Jungkook, who was actually popular in school and had an established identity,
Right.
coming from that space to moving into this space that had absolutely, there was no grounding to it. There was nothing. He came, to come from a grounded environment to an absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
quicksand environment at age 12
Mm-hmm.
to 13. I'm sure you understand how much trepidation there is, to be
Mm-hmm.
able to figure out who you are in the middle of all of that. Um,
Right.
and then he was a gentle spirit. He's a gentle spirit to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Yeah.
God,
He
all of
is.
these Weavers' lives are just,
They're so sweet.
they are just, oh my God. I
I
have
know.
meditation here, so I am going to put that on in just a moment. But
Mm.
at the same time, Cookie is also the most adventurous member of BTS,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
hands down. Even,
Mm.
Tay isn't, actually, that's it. He's it. That's it.
Yep. No, I'd agree. I'd agree.
He's willing to see the world upside down. And those of you who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. A
Mm-hmm.
la 2021 winter package. And
Yep.
at the
Yep.
same time, Jungkook has the most fierce love for Army, like
Mm-hmm.
his members, and he places us at the foundation of his work,
Mm-hmm.
which, I, as we said last week, we don't want to take advantage of that at all. We're very, very, very lucky that BTS places us at the center of their world and interacts with us the way that they do. It's just not something that you can get anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I said this,
Mm-hmm.
it's really important for us to remember that we are not entitled to all of his time or his energy. Just remember that, Army, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So what do we have for today, Angela?
Well, the we say we always are going to have a plan, and then the plan changes as the week goes, huh? So we're going to talk a little bit about JK, his love for Army, growing pains and successes, highlight a couple of his solo pieces of work, a genuine humble talent that led him to the big stage for the World Cup, which I got to view. And I feel
Live! Are you so lucky?
completely honored that I got to be, because I'm here in Qatar, so I got to see him at that opening ceremony, and that was amazing. And you know, for him to be able to go from, like you were saying, the 12, 13-year-old to being where 1 billion people or more were watching him live, and he was completely confident. It's amazing. It's amazing. But he could not have done, you know, a lot of those things if he didn't also feel like Army was supporting him. And we talked a lot, you know, in Qatar about the Qatar BTS Army, about, you know, there was only about 300 of us, if you can imagine. That was all that could get those opening game tickets.
Wow, that's incredible.
I doubt we were heard by him down there, but we tried. And really, so he felt, even though it wasn't necessarily always like the usual fan base, it wasn't a concert, you know, that he still felt that, you know, everyone appreciated him, and everyone around me, you know, was in love with him after that. So it's hard not to fall in love with him, even just one song.
I know,
Mhm.
and you talked to me about that. So do you mind just sharing
Sure.
how the people who came
Mhm.
for the World Cup, how they accepted him?
Yeah, I mean, he came a couple weeks, or even maybe it was a month or two before, and he, you know, prepared it, got the video ready, and we knew that there was something going on, you know, kind of in the works. I think even in, you know, like Busan, we knew that there was, you know, some things going on, um, and so people, you know, were here, and I think people were great, very respectful of him, kept their distance. You see the videos from him, you know, he gave a lot of love back to Army, and then, you know, people were worried, you know, at the show, at the opening, thinking this is not the usual where we're going to see, you know, a concert. This is not the usual crowd. This is a football crowd. This is the opening game of the World Cup. At least what, 1 billion people or more watching.
Yeah.
And people were saying, you know, how are they going to react to him? And I said, well, I ran down from my seat all the way down as far as I could go, and I said to the security at the door, I'm going to watch him sing this song from right here. You can kick me out if you want to after this song. But he was great, and he knew, you know, so I could kind of video and see it as close as I could. And you know, when I went back up through the stands, everyone was clapping and cheering. And the group that I was with were like, he's got moves, Angela. I said, yes, he does have moves. So I think people, you know, were really appreciative of his talent, his just, I mean, genuine talent. And that song, you know, with the Qatari singer, he has a beautiful voice too.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they, you know, collaborated and really have this friendship. He always posts little things on his, you know, TikTok about doing the Dreamers with him. The song was beautiful. The words are beautiful. I mean, it was played at every World Cup. I went to 10 matches in the World Cup, and it was played at every
Oh,
World
at
Cup.
so was it played at the beginning? Is that
It
what
was
they?
played, yeah, when they were warming up. You know, I went to 3 Korea matches, and they played the song a lot
Well, of course.
there too. At every time Korea scored a goal, they would play Idol, and that was the song that the Korean football team wanted to play whenever they scored a goal.
Oh, I
Mhm.
love it. I
need to find, yeah,
do
I
you
have
have a
some.
video? We
I
really
do.
need to get that.
I was
That
like,
would be
what song
incredible.
is that? You know, whenever a team scores a goal, they have a song that they could choose, and they played. So, and that was just great fun to see, you know, him really, he came out, you know, that people just really kind of embraced him and really loved his talent and thought, oh my gosh, he's 24 and he has this much talent. Um, and they loved that the song was done, you know, with a local, you know, singer that's got a
Love.
great, beautiful
Absolutely
voice,
adore that.
beautiful
Yeah.
voice in Arabic. And so the song, you know, has just been so great. And, you know, I think though the World Cup documentary is coming out, and they're going to have a whole section on the making of the video and the song and everything.
I cannot wait for that. I heard that was
Mhm.
coming, and that
Mhm.
there was going to be. He has not just a small snippet. I heard
Yeah,
that's
the significant amount of
that
time you
there's a
spent with
good
that
amount of
song.
time placed on him
Mhm.
for it. So I'm
Mhm.
really excited to hear that happened. So that
Mhm.
must have had something to do with him having to go a little bit earlier. Well, I mean, he was there an extended period of time, more
He
than
was.
normal.
Yeah, he came at least once when they were working on the video, and that was when, I knew that he was around.
Mhm.
Um, and then, the second time he came and he was getting ready for the show, that's when people, did see him around in the mall, and he went to the amusement park and he went to the movies. And sometimes I feel like, he really got, um, to kind of just enjoy his time and things here too. So I think it was really nice that he got to kind of have a little bit of some normalcy too.
Well, that was actually what it seemed like that he was having.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
the imperative of anyone who's in the entertainment world, or anyone, okay, let's just say it that, is that everyone has to have the ability to find a space. Okay, so you know me because you've been with me enough to know now. For instance, Tara, I say about putting your feet under you. It's a term that I use because I constantly think of the untenable, or the not the unexpected, because I like unexpected. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong on that one, but the
Yeah.
untenable or the difficult to hold on to. I tend to think of it like walking into quicksand because you don't know it's there. So
Yeah.
we have these 7 gems walking into quicksand on a regular basis. So
Hmm.
let's draw the connection between jungle going into an environment that's the first of its kind. It's the
Hmm.
same as if they went to the Super Bowl and they did this. It's
Oh
the
yeah.
same.
I mean, we
Mhm,
don't realize it on the US scale, how football
mhm.
around the world. I mean, it was, here's my little picture of me. Can you see me?
Let me see. Oh yay! I love it. Can you put? You should have put it here so we could put it up.
I got it. And I ran down and I had, we wore our USA jerseys and I ran down, I had my little cookie headband,
I
so
love
that
it
I could,
so
say that we're
much.
supporting you. It was, yeah, right before the opening song. So, I mean, I felt so, happy for him, but so proud, that he, they said, his earpiece had malfunctioned a little bit.
Yeah, I
But
heard
that,
that.
yeah, but the song, it's a beautiful song. And, I think, it really, it's one of those songs that's going to be around for a really long time because the words are beautiful. The mixing of the voices, their voices really were melodic together. So
So, what
I
was the
think,
really interesting thing about that? Now, let me just say it really quickly because I'll forget.
yeah.
My parents liked the song. Now, there was a reason because they heard it as it dropped because they listened to it with me live. My
Right.
family listened to it and immediately they went like, "Wait a minute,
Mm,
that's soca.
mm,
That's Middle Eastern and soca." So soca's
mhm.
originations are actually very, very, very Middle Eastern, and I'm a West Indian. So
Right.
this is what I grew up on. So we can easily add Dreamers to our dance repertoire. It was a moment of connection where my parents were
Mm,
like, we like
mhm,
this song. We
mhm,
like this
mhm.
beat. I was like, you know,
Well, the words of it also, talking about respect, and that was the big thing, um, in the lyrics, about respect, loving each other, things like that. And that's, if you had a chance to, I've never experienced, this is my first World Cup, and I can tell you, it was the
there was
coming
nothing
together
like
of,
it. Yeah,
yep.
nothing like it.
And that
Nothing.
song was playing everywhere all the time.
Hmm.
And so I think, it was a big reason, people loved the song and loved the lyrics, and it just brought everyone together. So when you think about, BTS reaches Army a lot, and we all know that. But to have a song reaching like that, through a whole nother population of people who don't always necessarily listen to it, that's
Correct.
huge. It's
Yeah, I'm
huge.
100% with you on this one
Yeah.
because it reached into my own culture. So it gave
Mm-hmm.
me a huge, and I told you, I was like, I'm here listening to it live with my daughter
Right.
and my daughter-in-law.
Right.
Even my daughter is like, oh my God, that's going to literally touch the world because mom.
Right.
So God,
Mhm.
a lot of people don't understand how that particular mixture of sounds is more normative in the rest of the world than we see it here in the West.
Right.
So
Right.
the fact that we were able to broadcast that to 1 billion people and they all got to hear that as well as it being Jungkook who's singing it, I was like, wait, now what? And then I apologize. The gentleman's name went out of my head. I'm so foggy. I am so sorry.
Don't
Um,
worry.
the other singer, Fad. Um, goodness, uh, the fact that we were able to see such a beautiful emergence, such a diverse emergence
Mm-hmm.
on the world stage
Mm-hmm.
is astounding.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, if you consider where we were years ago,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Namjoon said something in his Al Pai, the Spanish article this week.
Right.
He said
Right.
that they worked so hard because 70
Yeah.
years ago they had nothing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I consider that in 70 years, look at so please never get me wrong on this. This is not my wheelhouse. This is not for me to say. I am
Mm.
not Korean. This is not my history. But out of
Mm.
pure absolute respect, the fact
Mm-hmm.
that in 70 years this country has been able to create genres of music, technology,
Mm-hmm.
language, written word, just art that is stunningly brilliant. And then we were blessedly lucky enough
Mm.
to have our seven gems, come
Mm-hmm.
together.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's unheard of because I come from a country where that's not how it's happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
a lot older of a country. We got our independence. Both of my countries got our independence in the 60s as well. Um,
Mm.
and a little bit later, of course, than Korea did. But still, if you look at it, it's been difficult. So
Right.
anyway, I mean, we are digressing, but I really am glad we had this conversation to understand um, that we. Oh, oops! I'm so sorry. I am on actually answering questions, so sometimes just to bear with me on things. So sometimes the show, I am actually talking to people in here.
No worries. And
So it's
that kind of, if we, it backs us up a little bit to, when you think of some of the earlier lyrics, like we were talking about some of his solo works, um, and some of the lyrics about how he's grown and how he's,
mhm, mhm.
um, matured and how he kind of felt at the beginning to where he feels now. Um, we were going to talk about a couple of those songs.
We are. So let's go into our very first ones. So,
So I picked, well,
mhm.
I picked two different ones. Do you want me to show one of the ones that I picked that I kind
Yeah,
of,
let's go for it. Let's go for
okay.
it.
So
Mhm.
I had picked, let me go down to,
So we're actually going to go ahead and post the questions now, okay?
yeah,
Until for Army. Which
yeah,
ones did you put on the banner? So I'm going to go with putting them both on one banner real quick while you go ahead and get that ready. Is that okay?
okay, yep.
So I'm
So
gonna,
I have Begin, so I
oh,
can get,
oh,
yeah.
you know how much I love Begin. So it is my favorite Cookie song, even though everyone in the world thinks it's Euphoria because Euphoria was the song
Well,
that changed me.
a lot of, yeah, or My Time also, right?
That's his favorite.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
That is his favorite. I am so proud of Cookie. Here are your questions. We have 2 and 1.
mm-hmm,
So Army, go ahead and pay attention. I left it as a banner so it was easier for you to find it. So what has seen JK grow from an adolescent to an adult meant to you?
mm-hmm,
How have you seen him grow mentally and emotionally? It's a really big question because I want to understand something. I don't always see him as just a 26-year-old child,
mm-hmm,
man. I see Jungkook's an extremely well-rounded human being
mm-hmm,
that kind of transcends age. And he says
mm-hmm.
it all the time. His one relativity and his connection is that he's just genuinely humble, but he's
Yeah.
so kind and he's so pure that it comes off
Mhm.
as the Jungkooky, the little bunny, and he
Mhm.
accepts that and he lets us do that, right?
Mhm.
Right, Angela?
Yeah.
But
I
he's
mean, he
a
said that one of his lives the other day. Why are you still calling me a baby? I'm not a baby. I mean, I think he realizes we mean those in endearing ways too. We're not meaning it like it's not
oh yeah,
belittling, but no one means that, in a way that's negative. I think it's just what we've, especially when you've been in Army for a while, you're still so connected to him
mhm,
as seeing him as still such a young child.
yeah, seeing him in that way, and
Mhm.
right, and that's me. So you really do have to forgive me. I hope people are okay with it,
Mhm.
but I have to
Well, yeah,
toggle between those parts of myself and him.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm the same with Tay and with Jimin. So I really have to
They were so young.
pull
Yeah.
that together because they were so young.
Yeah.
So these are two of the questions we want you to go ahead and start working on answering. Go ahead and drop your answers in while Angela goes ahead and starts with begin.
So begin, and hopefully, I mean, I extracted just a few of the lyrics that I really felt like were, you know, symbolic, not the whole song, not all the lyrics, but the ones I think that really are symbolic of what the message he was trying to get across.
Oops, let's put our
아무것도 없던 열대섯의 나 세상은 참 커서 너무 작은 나 이제 난 상상할 수도 없어 향기가 없던 텅 비어있던 나 I pray Love you my brother 형들이 있어 감정이 생겼어 나 내가 됐어 so I'm mad Now I'll make you
Okay. I can listen to that again. I
know.
Never stop feeling what I feel about that song.
Well, and the chorus, once that chorus starts to get going, you know, but that's true when he said, you know, when he was writing those lyrics, he's always in pain. When he would always see them in pain, that's when he felt the most pain. But he also, you know, appreciates them for helping bring him out of his shell, that they were part of that journey for him as well. The lyrics are beautiful.
Thing is that he's also not talking about, he says, I may not understand sadness, but the thing was, he did. It's just, again, humility. They're all humility. They're all humble. He did understand sadness. When he said, this is 2016, and again, the whole world knows how I feel about Wings.
Yeah.
And Wings begins with begin.
Right.
When you look at the music video attached to this, and the crying, when he's looking at the scene of the painting, and then the painting is all these, just the myriad of colors, and then that color spectrum, that bright spectrum, that's then mirrored, because we see it in Hobies.
Right.
It's this concept of the image of self that becomes blurred. And we are all have the ability to be part of the color spectrum, right? We all do. There. I'm sure you understand the analogy is we all have the ability to feel what borahe is. We say the word that has a meaning attached to it. We see the color blue and it has a meaning attached to it. What he's showing with the imagery is that he at that time, because he's in 2016, Jungkook was still 16 plus 3, so he would have been 18 going on 19.
Yeah.
So he was still high level in a formative state in his life. In terms of identity, he still had years to go in terms of the first and second stages of identity. He's saying, I am recognizing that the palette of me is this blurring of experiences that I've had. And in this, when he looked at them in the image of self, if you think about, and then the wings, it melts, and then it actually burns. And then he cried. When he cried in that video,
it's touching, really.
It's not touching. It's beyond touching.
It's beyond touching. What's the next word? What's the next level?
What's the next level of touching? This is insanely moving. What are you doing to me, Jungkook? It was his first time acting too, if you remember. He said they had done it before, but what they asked of them, especially with his crying, because he had really pull out of himself to be able to cry like that on that screen,
it was really different.
You wouldn't know that from that. How beautiful. but he used the imagery in his head of the pain that his brothers were in.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
What an extremely intelligent. I say emotionally intelligent often, right?
Right.
Santa's here.
Mhm. Yay.
Hi, honey. I hope your trip was
Mhm.
amazing.
Mhm.
And you had a great time with family. I'm so happy you're here. Again, we talk about emotional intelligence. I actually might
Mhm.
even just write that down here. I want everybody to understand that I think it's something that I want you to consider as we're answering the questions. We posted the questions earlier. Do you want me to post them again?
Yeah, let's post them again. I mean, I can do my second reel if you want, or my second.
Well, begin. I think that would be. Are we good with begin?
Yeah, I mean, for me, that when I thought about picking, two of them came to mind, three of them really, right? So begin my time. I was like, my time is, I think when he really
It's an
was feeling
ultimate.
so confident and yeah. And then
Mhm.
of course Euphoria. Those were my three top ones that I thought when I thought about him and kind of focusing on his, independent, his solo songs, that those were the three that really stuck in my mind as being like JK songs.
There you go. I posted the questions for you so you can run back and
Okay.
grab them. Let's go to the next one and then we'll do a
Yeah,
comparison between the two because
sure.
begin and my time, again, another handshake. If you
Right.
think about it, the entirety of Wings and Moths are a handshake, right? I always say it all the time. It's
Right,
where
right, right,
that story they were telling and they bring it into the transition of who they are,
right,
and who they've learned to become. So
right.
let's go. Next
Okay.
song.
My time. Buckle up.
24 누구보다 더 빨리 오늘이 될 것만 같아 My life is up in a movie out time 해 뜨는 곳으로 달렸어 every single night 누구의 내일을 가봤던 것도 같아 온 세상이 너무 컸던 그 손은 Keep on running all day night 잡아들어 Friends running stop it I'll be in the air plano 전 세계로 rock 나 매일만 올라라 내 바람을 받는 건지 No 재버리는 적이 더 너한테 두 번 am I living this way 왜냐면 내 시간과 속인 걸까 I can't tell you I can't tell you I can't And yes you do oh yes you do I can't tell you I can't judge you I can't let me know Again I from the fin about my time
Woo.
I know. Now I know why you said buckle up.
Well, I don't know when I first saw that video of him, doing that live performance in the red.
What a choice. What a personal
I'm out of
choice.
words. Yeah, that was and then once I had kind of read the lyrics, just the beginning lyrics where he's talking about, kind of being lost in this big city. I mean, kind of overwhelmed and still being yet young. Kind of how, and now it's like, when am I going to find my time? When am I going to find my time? And I think he was realizing he was getting to his time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the
Wow.
red suit and all.
That hair too. Woo. I love that.
I think it was in Vegas. A girl had done that same.
Mm-hmm.
It was gorgeous. She wore that same out, she made it and she wore that same outfit and it was gorgeous.
I love it. I love that, and I love because it was the Map of the Soul one where they performed it. There's a lot to say about this song. I think I wish if we had done a lyrics tile, it would have been lovely. I can do it real quick because there's a third part of that lyric where he talks about. Okay, So in the beginning, he's recognizing that maybe I don't understand who I am and enough to know what my sadness has been or what the pain I've been through. And thank you so
Mhm.
much for that, Tata. We actually spoke about his adventurous spirit when we first started,
Mhm.
and being able. And I talked very frankly about the fact that yes, I have to learn myself as Army
Mhm.
for this long to be able to say, yeah, Jungkook has to grow, and
Mhm.
we just have we're loving and we're accepting him in every way possible.
Right.
So with the transition from beginning where he's like my pain and my sorrow, I have to learn what it is, but it's worse than anything when you're having it, which is something he feels for us as well.
Right.
And in my time, he's saying, okay, I understand. Remember what I said about he had a few more years of identity to go and that
Right.
he'd
Right.
go into a different stage. So at 24, you're in a different stage of identity, right?
Right.
You're
Yeah.
go ahead. Mhm.
No, I say, it starts off 24. My life has been a movie. I mean, I think he realized his life it became different once he became a trainee. His life took a different path. Um, being 24, and someone said it kind of reminds um, me of like what we might think of like child actors. What they kind of go
Mhm,
through, kind of
mhm,
similar
mhm.
things of reaching this peak and maybe missing a little chunk of childhood or their teenage years, and jumping right into sometimes being kind of like an adult. um, so he says everybody walks too fast, and he was still yet a child, right? So having to deal with a lot of the pressures of being a trainee from when he was so young, and now he's saying I'm 24, maybe I'm going to find my time, I'm going to find my time, I'm going to find my time.
Got it. That's
Mhm.
exactly what it is we're talking about.
Yeah.
But it's okay at 24 not to have found it.
Oh
Jungkook
yeah.
is 26.
Yeah.
This year he's 23 plus 3. I have to count him like that, I swear to you, because he counts plus the age. So in
Right.
his mind, he's 27 going into 28. And I'm like, I have to kind of because it's such a formative time for all
Right.
of
Right.
them.
Right.
So Jungkook is 23 plus 3 this year,
Right.
26. We're
Right.
completely moving into a different stage in our life. I
Right.
have a 29 and a 32-year-old. Remember that I've walked this path already with them.
Mhm.
And when I see patients, I specialize in this age in terms of behavioral social connection. And I work
Mhm.
with a lot of people this age with anxiety and stress disorders and trauma recovery.
Mhm.
So, just to be fair, on all of BTS went through anxiety, stress disorder, levels of depression, and they've just been through everything under the sun. And he started that at age 13. He's at 26.
Yeah.
He's like, okay. So when he wrote this song for himself 3 years ago, we're looking at him saying, oh, I'm recognizing that I have to find my own space now. So
Right.
that grounding and that quicksand sensation that you sit in kind of now gets to move or move on or change. Does that make
Right.
right? Does that make sense? You remember
Oh
what?
yeah. I
Mhm,
mean,
mhm.
I'm sure there was times, he felt
Yes.
gasping for air, like you're saying, like quicksand, and struggling and struggling. And he's finally kind of found himself a bit, right? I mean, your 20s is a big time to find everything out, let alone, being in the positions that they are.
Mhm.
Definitely. And he like, yeah, exactly, missing a lot of his own time, right? And now he's finding his time.
So exactly. And so we have JK's wrecking the things we've been saying all along in the show is that each and every one of them had missing parts of their formative years, their identity formative selves, because that was being created through the trainee process and that was being
Right,
created through the idol process. And
right.
the level of suppressive philosophies that did not allow them to move into knowing who I am and when is it my time to know that. Mind
Mhm.
you, all along we're seeing and we're being treated from 2016, 2015 on to 7 men giving us tools for identity, right?
Mhm.
Tools to find our own. So what I can 100% say with my time, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that he's saying he's actually walking the same path of
Mhm.
identity structure and
Mhm.
formation.
Mhm.
that everybody would be who's actually tapping into their music and their healing messages.
Right. Right. And we're all going to find our time at different points in, different points in our life, but it's like this, it's a journey, and it's been a journey for him. Right. And he's going to find his time, just like we will all find our time. And I definitely think that that's a really supportive message in that song. I mean, it's a beautiful song.
It is.
Mhm.
There's a time where there's a moment in the song where he's recognizing, and I love this concept because it's something I think of a lot. I mean, back in the day when I couldn't connect to them, they're 14 to 15 hours ahead.
Yeah.
And it was much more difficult at a time for someone like me here, because we didn't have the access we have today, where we could just turn on Verse, or we could not be live. Even though V Live was not stable, so it wasn't always that easy to jump on it. But I thought about the fact that in the song he says that my tomorrow is someone's yesterday, or my yesterday is someone's tomorrow. And am I running towards someone else's tomorrow, or is it my tomorrow that I'm running towards? Wow.
Right.
That's pretty incredible concept.
Yep. I mean, he says, I don't got to know where I'm going. 1 time for the present, 2 times for the past. Right. So he's, looking more forward, but still looking back. Things that he's learned, being a trainee and things like that. But what I felt like when the performance of that song in the live, in that studio, for me, that was he was almost like telling a story when he was dancing. I mean, it was like a very emotional dance. I felt like when he was doing that in the red suit, that it was very like kind of stressful, but getting this release, by doing this dance with that song. I felt like it was, he was took a whole nother.
Do you remember?
He was in like a whole nother atmosphere.
Yeah. Do you remember how many times it took him, and that he kept the entire team back until he was absolutely sure that he got it correct? Yeah. Do you remember that? I get him a lot. I totally and completely understand him, because
he was like really feeling the emotions of that song when he was
feeling the emotions of that song. Jungkook does things in a way to have us, let's see if I say this correctly, okay? Because it's not always the easiest thing. Jungkook does things in a way. So sorry, guys, because my trend of thought, sometimes how it is. He does things in a way that creates a story. Mm-hmm. But I oftentimes think that he's looking at the pieces of life, right? Mm-hmm. He's looking at his own pieces of life, and he's saying, well, what did I collect in my life so far? What are the pieces that I've collected? And have those pieces started to then fit? And you can see his mind thinking, and he'll phase out in the middle of their conversations, right? They'll be in the middle of a live show and he'll just like totally phase out, because Jungkook in that moment is just thinking. He's thinking, and you see that on him. So what I like that he's finally done, and again, let me just say, with all due and 100% gratitude and respect, he does not have to do what he's doing with these lives at all. What he's giving us in these lives, I use the word gift constantly when it comes to Bangtan, but they are absolutely 1,000% gifts. The fact that they're giving us something where we get to then self-reflect on it on our own, and making it part of, because what we assimilate, the visual learning, auditory learning, all the different learning styles, Alive actually taps into everything except tactile. Except we're writing. Tactile is we're writing. True. We're doing a post, turning it on. So there is that, and the posting gives us the tactile stem of responding to him and sending him messages. But we're getting the auditory, we're getting the visual, we're getting the auditory visual connection, we're getting the neuro auditory stimulation. We're not getting this. But when he burns the candle and we hear that sound of the ASMR that comes with it,
Right.
we are accepting that. That's like a huge positive movement and positive flow.
Right.
That triggers all the neurohormonal systems that make us happy.
Right.
And that is what V Lives is. And that's what he's been giving us. His Insta being gone doesn't really mean as much to him because he doesn't communicate to us in writing.
No.
This is how he communicates.
Yeah. And what other, very few would you have the opportunities to, maybe just have him kind of, sitting there and he's singing songs, sometimes for hours. And you could just sing along with one of your favorite performers. That doesn't happen very often. You don't get that opportunity. You might be working and doing other things, and you just hear his voice in the background singing a wide variety of genre of songs, whatever. And he's, taking requests, what Army says, and singing their old songs and things
He's
like
like,
that.
why are you asking me to sing that song? I don't want to sing that song.
Where he says, do we have a song called, I
have a
forget what
song.
song he was like, do we have a song called, he couldn't even remember one of their older songs. But just hearing him in the background and you could kind of sing along with him, and that connection, you feel like you are one-on-one with him.
Exactly.
Not 1 and 14 million.
There you go. That is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So in his learning style, I'm not grieving the Insta. That was cool and it was pretty, but it's not how he connects to us. And he got very frustrated with it because he couldn't use it the way he wanted to use it to communicate with us. And he's tried twice. So I get him. I understand that I'm going to keep using the device that helps me to connect to the people who are my people.
Didn't he do a couple of Instagram lives and he pulled Tay on at the same time and they were kind of laughing, and I think that was just a couple weeks. Yeah. Yeah.
How to get it to work. I was like, cool, honey. Cool. Yeah. I love you so much. Just keep doing your thing. He makes me so happy.
Very true.
I'm at work and I'm just like, cookies on. Let me just listen to him while I try and do my job.
Exactly. Well, does that kind of leads me a little bit into, I was thinking about when we were talking about doing his folio. You have his folio, or are we going to share his folio?
It's right here in front of me.
There is a little reel. There's it's a 20-second reel. But what did you feel like when you first saw his folio?
The thing is that he's the first one to have dropped it.
Yeah.
And so I think none of us knew what we were doing.
Right.
And how we were supposed to feel with it.
Right.
I have all 8. Well, I'll have all 8 as soon as Yoongi's drops. I just love the fact that I love this cover.
The color, that gorgeous jewelry.
The decision that he took a picture with this beautiful piece of jewelry in his mouth. That's a distortion image. A distortion image where you take something to obstruct your image is not what we do normally. But in imagery for visual stimulation and messaging, it's a very important part of saying, I'm aware that I can have something obstructively covering my face, but my message and my story is still here. It's still going to be present. It's so interesting that he used the same red and black theme from My Time. And do you look at the colors and the design? Isn't it so similar to the My Time?
That's the first thing I thought about.
Yeah. It's just,
I know a lot of people went to kind of the goth and the like the vampire, and that didn't strike me at first.
I mean, he did talk about it, but he talked about the fact that it has to do with time.
Right.
It was about passage of time and who I guess it's like kind of like who am I, or what am I willing to explore in terms of who I am.
Right.
So I mean, it's refreshing in the sense that he's telling us that I am open to exploring so many different sides of fantasy about who I am as a human. Okay, he's 26. He better darn well be doing that. If he's not, then we have a problem.
Right.
Of course, this is what he should be doing at this time. Let's consider the fact that he should be doing RPGs, role-playing games. Let's consider the fact that how important it is to read fantasy or a webtoon or read all these things as we figure out who we are. These are very important parts of our life. Reading, they're all considerately important for us to be able to achieve a sense of perspective of who self is. So, I love the fact that he went with the Vampire Diaries and that he went with these kind of concepts. So yes, I also love the fact that he gave us so many tones that dim the normal image of self. What a phenomenal thought and concept that I'm going to go ahead and say I'm dimming the beauty image. But there's no way jungle could be anything but beautiful. It's just the way it is. But the standard of beauty image in the idol industry, they all challenged it in extremely different ways. So I think we're going to do the full. We said once Yoongi's came out, we would do the full portfolio shows. We were going to do the 8. So that's going to come, and I think we'll talk about it a lot more.
Well, each one has the things that were almost jaw-dropping when you first saw something out of each one's portfolios.
See, I wanted to find this for you. There it is. Told you, it's time difference. See, my time difference. So it was the same theme for my time.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you look at it, I guess you could have not made the connection. But did you realize that he physically used the words that I have been using forever and a day? It's about self. It's literally inner self. This is him expressing that part of who he is. I especially love the one where he's in the sunlight and he has, like the vampire would have the iridescence.
Love
the
lighting.
Well, no, because you remember how he said that legend says that vampires shine with like a pixie dust.
Right.
Before they burn? No.
Yeah, right.
So
when the sun comes up.
Yeah, I love it because it's the continuity of the phrase of inner self and time. He's started with beginning of time of his time, and he's moved it now from 2016 to 2022.
Right.
Solid years. They tell stories, people. They tell stories. You just have to know how to connect the pieces of that story. Oh my God, we have so many comments. Oops. Let me just go and grab a few of them. I love this, Adara. Agree. Yeah, his honesty, yes. Love it. Just don't have Hobie and Jin try and meditate with you. It will be pure massive chaos.
Absolute chaos.
Pure chaos. They do nothing but laugh the entire time.
Well, anytime Jin's on live, it's you never know what's going to happen.
I don't know that they're going to work on any other platforms. They're so busy. They have so much going on. And let's just, like we say constantly, man, we get so much of their time.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, sometimes I'm like, it's okay, guys. Or gentlemen, I'm perfectly fine with you not always being here. But then I miss them, and then I'm so spoiled.
And just when you think it's going to be kind of a quiet week, it's not ever going to be a quiet week. So they're definitely working hard. Always working hard.
I love it. So I'm going to go through. These are great. Go ahead. You go.
I was going to say, she put, I'd watch another 3 hours of Jin playing video games, and I was going to say, in his Jin pajamas.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, I love this concept, Charlene, and that's what we were talking about. This is how we started with the show, is that really we're looking at well, let me jump back to this. Jin playing for 3 hours, now we understood it was because he wanted to give us, well, regardless, he wanted to leave us the ability to go back and watch him for 3.5 hours and
Right.
watch and be able to enjoy him in that way. And then he gave us
Right.
the same thing with the little bit that he gave us with thank you. And I'm about to say that, Maggie. Oh my God, I love when people get
True.
me. It's just that every single thing that they create for us has a pure absolute meaning behind it. They
Right.
know exactly where the continuity and the flow of their thought and content is. And I guess I'm not sure why it is that I can remember things from so far back when it comes to them, but I can see the lineality of their messaging because it's constantly in my head. And I love that we could tap into the fact that we've known since 2015 or 22 that he's talking to us about that movement of self and inner self and finding his own awareness of self, then to be able to say, I want this is a part of who I want to be or a part of who I absolutely don't want to be. This is parts of me I don't want. So the insta going away was like, okay, I get what you're saying. It's perfectly, it's a perfect statement of self. I know that's hard, right? We're spoiled. But the message is always sitting there, and it's always like that with all of them. I love, love, love how joyful they are. Even when they're sad and crying, there's this it's unmistakable joy. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I mean, deep down, that's what they feel. I mean, and they share that with us. We are an extremely lucky fandom to have them constantly sharing all their emotions, right? Not just the highs and lows, but things that they're going through. I mean, RM is so active on Instagram. I feel like I'm step by step with him every day, going to the art museums and just feeling, you get to, and J Hope on there so much, just feeling everything that they're doing, their happiness, their joy. I feel like the last 6 months, even for RM has been very freeing for him in a lot of ways.
These articles where
Yeah.
we have to go through them and piece through them because these last two, astoundingly raw and honest. Astoundingly. I read 3 lines and I cried because all I wanted to be able to hear them say in their life is that we have the owners of control of our existence.
Yeah.
We are the we are the message makers. We are the creators. We have the onus. And at no point in life were they allowed to do that.
Right.
In the long run, whoever asked the question about contracts, I'm going to leave that not here for right now. We could chat about it in the Discord. You know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I believe that at this point, whatever they want, whatever they choose to give us after 2025, I'll take it with a huge breath. I'll breathe it in and I'll breathe it out. And I'll be grateful.
Appreciative. Yeah.
That's it, because I like what you're saying here. I love this because thank you so much for this. It's exactly it. He's not saying that. He's saying that every single one of us, all 71 million plus 7 of them, have to find happiness that's not connected only to them. So happiness has to be something that maybe they are the foundation, or they gave us, they gave us the fundamental principle of being able to find that or being able to be connected to it. But and even the 7 of them finally living on their own was so necessary because they are not the same people. So how could they express it if they couldn't physically have an environment that expresses them? I mean, this doesn't necessarily express me. I've had this talk with you about how I'm still in a temporary situation because life has brought me to a place where it's teaching me not to be attached to things and places. And I'm extremely happy with that right now. They learned that lesson from the beginning because they were constantly on the move. That's what Namjoon talks about in Wildflower. There was no physical tenable stability.
Right. Stability.
Are you going to
settled?
Are you And think about that with your children. If when he said, "Are you going to be okay?" It's a good, fair question. It doesn't mean they're leaving us. It just means but you're okay when we're not here.
Right.
Because you need to be able to be okay when we're not here.
Right.
It's fair. They're all going to be gone at a certain point soon. So it is something, I think. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
God, it's like even though I haven't done a Namjoon show for a while, dude, let me tell you, I talk about him on every show, right?
Well, we did Indigo right when it first came out, but there's been just so much more that he shared recently. Yeah.
I'm gonna do Kiki's meditation real quick, and everyone's good because I did it with the dual set with Bangtan the other day, and I had everyone take a few moments and decompress with him, and because it's such a gift. So let's put our cam off. We're gonna put him on. I hope this is the right one. The real reel is much, much longer than that. I actually recorded a lot of it for myself because I needed that. I needed that so much that night, as people who are on the dual set with me understood what was going on. The gift that he gave us is something I needed on that day and has helped me so much. This is who he is now. He's always been this person, that beautiful, beautiful spirit who cries when he thinks about writing a letter to Army. That beautiful child. Yes, he's still a child. That beautiful adult. That beautiful human.
That's right.
I will always see. This is one of my favorite pictures for the reason that when I look at this, I see that that soul inside of him, just coming, just this pure, pure soul.
Ooh,
yeah. I know, right? Go back to a few seconds. Yeah. I have that one right behind me.
That one was a shocker. That was Busan, yeah.
And this is my picture. I just am so happy I managed to grab this. It's actually
you were right up front.
To the ones that were out there. So I was like, oh. And then we have this, and then I will never forget this moment. This moment will live in my head forever because I know what it means. I feel like it's us and them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're the AN Army.
Right.
They represent this us.
Oh yeah.
Look at my little boy with his Hobie. I am so sorry. You know that the extended reel has much more to it. The extended reel is with all 7 members, but look at him with Hobie. Look, it's just I had to do that. I had to show you him at my Homa. So that was a great.
That leads us a little bit what you're talking about. Him feeling my time, my freedom. There's me getting ready to see the dreamers.
To see the dreamers.
There you go.
We are ready to see our lovely next sweetie, cutie, lovely, aren't we?
Oh, sweetie, cutie, lovely, sexy, lovely, sexy, cutie.
Cutie, lovely at this time for our sweetie patootie.
Well,
Well, set me free. Took that and sent it over there.
yeah, that. Well, I mean, I saw some people's reaction videos, and people were speechless.
Yeah.
I mean, we watched it live together, right?
Live, right. We watched it
I'm
live.
still speechless when I see it.
I watched it today 5
beautiful.
times again,
Mhm.
and I keep finding pieces of the puzzle. So the formation of
Mhm.
the 9 is the
Mhm.
other half of the yin and the yang, like I was telling you guys.
Yep.
The two sides of 9 lined up in this way becomes yin
Right.
and yang. Sorry, and so they form the yin and yang, and he moved through the yin. So
Mhm.
that was beautiful. And in the moment when he says, I don't care if they mock me anymore,"
Right.
it's where he goes in the center, and all of them form this 6
Around him, yeah.
around him.
Mhm.
And I was like,
The
God.
symbolism in that video is, let alone the poem.
Oh my God, that
The
poem was
poem, the 200-year-old poem in German.
Yeah, we should have done a towel for it, but we can do that because I think we're gonna do it's
Yeah, I mean, as of course, he's got another song coming out Friday,
I think
right?
we're gonna do it with it
Yeah.
together. So
Yeah. There's a quick reel. There's a Set Me Free reel. You want me to play that real quick?
Mhm.
Okay.
I got a good time, yeah, time to get mine. Head must be broke, hell is at night. I never stop, it gets you with me. I never stop, open your arms, finally free. Oh yeah, 곁에 멈춰서 not yet, 돌아보지 않아. Not yet, 날아가 버려, fly, finally free. 더 이상 아파도 숨지 않아.
Sorry, that last part went by kind of fast, but there were some, quotes where he's been interviewed about the song. But when I was looking at some of the symbolism, the helix,
Which
the
is also
DNA,
the 9. So the 9 is the number of the pattern of life. That's
right, the pattern, right? DNA. Mm-hmm. So I mean, some of the symbolism was in the video is amazing.
Oh,
and I think the jaw-dropping moment at the end where he comes out in the white and you could see the top of his moon.
yeah.
His,
The 2 parts of the thing, 1, 2, 3. Technically, it's 3.
people were speechless.
We were speechless when that happened.
We were like, "Whoa, play that again."
We did. Didn't we play it like 5 times?
Yeah.
We
Because I'm
did.
like, I missed that. Play it again. Yeah, I mean, the thought that went into this.
Set Me Free Part 2 is out now. Make sure.
Just a video on him where he talks about it. Sorry. I was like, I don't know which one I put up. I think the wrong one thinged up. So he's so cute.
The thought that went into this, I don't think people realize it's not just a music video. I mean, it's a work of, it's genius art, right? The symbolism, the costumes, just everything that goes into it. I did also see that Sienna Lalau helped contribute to the choreography on that too, which makes sense because she's really a storytelling choreographer.
Because she's been storytelling for them for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just doing some of the ones from the last part of Cookie. And now, so that was also Jimin.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a body. It looks like a body.
Bodysuit.
It's a body because it was really hard to tell. There's pieces where it's very different. So I'm just, I just don't want not to get the comments up. I see him being, we've talked about this about Jimin often. All the members, all of them have, of course, had to take on a personality and a persona that the idol world wants them to take on, idol track wants from them. But we had Jimin walking into his life as an idol as the last one, you know, who's added to the group in a place where even he wasn't sure that this is what he wanted, right? But then he made a decision, I want to be an idol, and he said so. But with not having the 2.5 years of being with them in the training, he had much less time to be able to work on assimilating or understanding the amount of stress it took. By the time he got there, other people had already cycled on and not made the team. So here he is coming in because they were still looking for that it. And that's how he and Tay ended up, you know, also being added. You're then added with a lot of burden, responsibility, and a huge amount of pressure on you as a 17-year-old who's still in a formative stage, right? Mind you, he is older than Cookie at this point. But at that point, remember how we've talked about many times in the show, we talk about that there are multiple stages to formative identity and concretization of identity. And in the old days, we talked about concretization being something that was static. But you know also that I don't believe that living our life is static whatsoever. And that therefore we are constantly reformatting or reformulating identity. So in this case, at 17, the Jimin that we were seeing when he came out was certainly not anyone that he was aware of. And we know that because we see him cringing to this day, all the way up until 2015, 2016. Or thing, he's cringing at that identity that he was expressing. Because he was like, I didn't know who to be. I didn't know who to be. And he's told us that so many times. He's like, say my name. What's my name? And he's like, oh my God, why did I do that? That made no sense. It has nothing to do with me. He recognized that. So when we have a video and we have a song where he's saying to us, I am not going to be part of that oppression anymore. I'm not going to be part, or it may still happen, but in the long run, I don't care.
He said it pretty loud and clear in this song.
He's basically, you know, saying that, hold on, I'm just actually trying to grab that one line that I want to get for you, and I'll put it out here. I could do a screen share and show it really quickly. Should I do that?
Yeah.
Let me grab the screen share real quick, and then I will show you what I'm talking about. So he's saying, and just to recognize the fact, what I'm doing right now, I'm actually creating a reel that overlaps and does a comparison between Set Me Free Part 1 and Part 2. People who are in the Discord know that I said from the very get-go, oh my God, I lost my mind. Because Set Me Free, the crescendos and decrescendos are actually in the opposite pattern to Yoongi's Set Me Free. That the tone is actually almost the same. There's also a discordant sound that sits at the base of the entire song. If you go back, you're going to realize they're extremely similar. We have one is soft, one is not soft. And Jimin said that what he was saying, this song, it began with these difficulties and the statement of set me free of these things that are holding me back and tying me down, the depression, anxiety, the loss of self, to be able to say, I'm setting myself free from those things. And Jimin told us that that's what it is. So he's like, I have a good time. Yeah, time to get mine. It's time for me to get my own space in this world. And I'm okay with showing the word. It's fine. I'm finally free. I'm never stop. It's never going to stop. I'm not going to let anyone stop me anymore. I'm done with that. And that is what we needed, because we've been hearing it from a couple other of the members, but we certainly hadn't heard it from him. And the concept of the butterfly for them. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I mean, I just saw that today, you know, the movement that he was making, the more that's coming out about some of the symbols and things in the video. It's really deep. There's layers.
Their song Butterfly was attached to the BTS World concept for
Right.
a very specific reason. And if you're not sure what that is, please go back and find the BTS World Storytelling. Sorry, my chair keeps going down.
No worries.
So you need to, I would tell you to please go back and look and really pay attention to why that song was actually added as an overlay song in all of it. So you'll hear pieces of Butterfly. That's why when we heard it in Busan, I told you that I
Oh,
broke down in tears standing
it's
there at
beautiful.
that rehearsal because I understood what that song meant. Then for him to come back and reference it again, and for Hobie to reference it, and Hope is on the street, you realize that they both referenced it because
Right.
it's a story, a continuity story. They are the butterflies. We knew
Right.
that.
They are.
And each
They
of them
are.
are the butterflies finding their way.
Mhm.
So look at
Yeah.
me now, look at me now. Now set me free, set me free. And then this
Mhm.
is the line. I still feel low. People make me
Mhm.
feel low. But in time,
Yeah.
I got no time to break my soul. No, I've broken my soul enough. Just let me
Mhm.
flow. Let me
Mhm.
flow. So let me flow is set me free. Actually, when you look at the pattern in the song, the two songs, this actually matches up with what Yoongi was saying. Hey, fool,
Right.
just get out of my way. Shut up. Off. I'm on my way. That is the line right there.
Right.
Because at no point in his existence has Jimin ever said that to anyone. Maybe he said it to the team. Maybe he said it and we've never seen it, but I doubt it because that's just not who Jimin's ever been. I am, yeah, now the butterfly
Mhm.
is finally free. Look at me. Now set me
Mhm.
free. Here's the line. Sorry. Ah, I think it's not showing me all of the words. The words that I wanted to get you was about the oh wow, where is it? I apologize, guys. I think my I'm moving too fast for it. Oh yep, it's actually missing an entire section here about
Yeah.
insanity. So where he talked about I lived in insanity and
Mm.
basically the for me to be able to live sane, I needed to accept the fact that I am living insane.
Right. Right.
I'm living in an insane existence in order for me to find my sanity. Please, please understand how profoundly truthful that statement is about all of our lives.
Right. No, I think that's true. I mean, I think this song is about him, but it's also all of them. I think, going through, and now the butterfly to me, I mean, being a science teacher, the butterfly to me has got a lot of symbols, kind of coming from the cocoon where you kind of feel wrapped and tight, constricted, to where you spread your wings and you fly away.
Mm-hmm.
And you might never look back and you might never come back, like butterflies do. And once you spread and their beautiful, gorgeous wings, and you might never come back. So for me, like, to understand that butterfly part as well is gorgeous. But I remember in Busan, and you looked up and they had those beautiful twinkling butterflies above us. It was, I mean, everyone around us just had
And
tears.
that's exactly what it is. When those
Tears.
twinkly butterflies are going over our head, I'm looking forward to the fact that this is probably going to be a continuous symbolism
Yeah.
as we move forward because
Yeah.
we've seen it now in 3 of their songs.
Mm-hmm.
So what the rest do, it's up to them. But
Right.
I think that they're showing that each one of them as a butterfly is breaking free. And they're
Right.
going to show us how they break free in
Right.
each of their own ways.
Right.
Namjoon showed us that because he talked about it. Hobie showed it to us the other day with his love song because he talked about I was able to be set free because you were there. Everything I do,
Mm-hmm.
everything I hear, everywhere I
Mm-hmm.
walk, everywhere I run, it's always us.
Right.
And and Jimin is saying it's because now I understand. I don't give a
Right.
even if you mock me, which you have done now to the extent that it almost broke my soul, I
Yeah.
don't care anymore.
Yeah. Right.
Think about something as well. When we start the video, he's wearing dark. Remember,
Right.
I talked to you about the gray tonality and that
Right.
the beginning we start with a cry. That entire, the first of all, that chorus is the same chorus from Moth's time. So he purposely went back to them. How beautiful is that?
Mm-hmm.
They were singing in a Damien crescendo.
Mm-hmm.
there's some ariatas that we've sung because I did choral opera back in my day. Very specific ones where this sound is a crashing symbol of the gods falling to earth.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more to that sound, but I don't know if that's why he used it. But for me, I heard it immediately. The crashing symbolism of the opening his song with that scream. It's a scream of pain. They
Yeah,
like
pain. Yep.
to
Yep.
when the world was destroyed. So
Right.
he opens with a scream of pain and he
Mm-hmm.
ends with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it faded out. It stayed very quietly, and his entire song sat over it like an overlay.
Right.
So we understand that that scream still exists.
Right. Right.
That is one massive concept to have in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And then we start out with him with the black clothing.
Right.
Then we move to the shirt gone.
Mm-hmm.
Now it reveals his true statement, which was underneath and written on him like a soul, like on his soul. That poem is part of his soul. It's
Mm-hmm.
who he is. So the
Yeah.
second part is his revealing that soul to us. And at the
Right.
very end, when he's free, what happens? We change into the white outfit.
Into the white outfit. Yeah.
That metamorphosis. Remember a long time ago we talked about metamorphosis
Mm-hmm. We talked about metamorphosis,
as the common theme?
and that's the butterfly.
And that's the butterfly. So
Beautiful.
the circle.
Full circle.
It's
Mm-hmm.
just incredible.
It's amazing.
Incredible. Like I told people like many, many moons ago, go and read Franz Kafka if you haven't done it yet.
Yes.
Because
Great book.
it's very important. Okay, so we're ready now. I think we're good. We have a lot more to say. We certainly cannot touch on all of it today. There it is. Look at me now. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't show. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for putting it up. Look at me now. I won't stop, even if they mock me going insane to stay sane. Raise your hands for the past me. Every time I hear that song, my hand goes up.
Mm-hmm.
It's raise your hands. Raise your hands for the past me.
Yeah.
What? I will live this line probably
Mm-hmm.
for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the gift that Jimin gave me. That line. I tell you, these gentlemen and what they help to keep my soul alive is, I just don't have words for it.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, Charlene, I love you so much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to steal this quote.
Yeah. Beautiful.
We
Great.
adore it. So thank you so much for being on today's show. Time for us to close up. Next week, I don't know where I'm going to be. Not even a clue, because there's a lot going on in life where I don't even know if I'll be in Korea as of next week.
Right.
I was hoping and praying I'd be seeing Jimin, because everything I've known forever, even before he told us that he was going to do this. But life is what it is, right?
Well, we heard rumors in Busan that there was going to be things happening in March. So that's when you kind of had your feelings.
It was me. We heard that exactly. And then, I mean, since then, I can
Mm-hmm.
go. It's just things are making it difficult. But it's what it is. My soul is there, but it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And do I want to see him? Yes, I do. And it's what it is. But if you see me next week from there, I'll be there. That's it. You'll know. Thank you so much, everyone. So next week's show, we're going to be focusing on, or I'm not sure. I think we may be working on the folios. We have a couple other things in the works. So we've learned we can't plan them out way too far ahead.
And Jimin has a new song Friday, so we'll see what that.
So I do think we're going to be in Jimin mode, basically, for Sunday, because what I'm thinking we're going to do is we're going to actually do some reactions with next week's show.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Our first ones. So we may do that. Also join, we should be doing a station head coming up soon. It's Hope for Hobie, and it will be for Jimin. Girl, I tried for all of them, and I thought I was hoping that one of them would happen.
Yeah.
It didn't, and it's okay. But when you go to the pre-recordings, you stand outside, and I get to see them. There's like I saw them in June for Proof. So I was able to have a lot of open interaction with them, which is just stupendous. How wonderful it is to be that close to them. So that was what I was planning on doing if I didn't get the pre-recording. And I heard that he's doing something else and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Good night, my
Mhm.
friend. Thank you so much for being with us. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. So every week it's a different story, but you see, we always collectively bring everything back to a common theme,
Mhm.
metamorphosis, change, and of course the gift of that the BTS gives us in terms of our own healing and self-awareness and inner self.
Mhm.
And we will be coming up in April with our new self-care graphics will come out. And we should be working on a calendar coming out. And I
Mhm.
think we have the new, so the calendar is, we're not going to talk about it now. You'll learn about it when the time comes, about what we're doing with that. And always amazing to talk about our boys. And so I'm
Mhm.
going to leave it to Angela. We're going to have a little bit of a surprise for next week. Streaming party. We're actually going to be putting up a live viewing party because we've been doing it regularly in the Discord. So anyone
Mhm.
who wants to join, I think we're going to find a way to do it in a closed event. Just keep an eye out and hopefully you can join
Yeah.
us where you are. So thank you all so much for being here with us,
Have a
and
wonderful week.
have a great week.
Thank
Up
you.
everyone. Bora, hey, love to everybody.
Have a great week.
Bye.